Hi my beautiful stars, I hope that you're doing so well today. If you're new here, welcome to my channel and welcome to the first episode of Molli-Ween 2025. For this year, I'll be doing Molli-Ween videos every Friday of October, so definitely be on the lookout for future episodes. I thought it'd be really fun to bring it back to my roots and touch back on the Anoka State Hospital. So the first video I ever did on the paranormal was about this place. It was like 10 years ago that I made a video about it. This place has always been so intriguing to me. It's really crazy that I live pretty close to something that's so haunted and has just a lot of history around it. Anoka actually had two state hospitals. There's another one and I didn't know that it was a state hospital, and I've driven by this place so many times in my life. It's the one for my Minnesotans that will immediately know what I'm talking about. It's alongside the Mississippi River. It looks kind of like a castle and they're actually apartments now. They've been apartments for years and years and years. I've heard lots of stories around that one as well, so maybe I'll do a future video on that place specifically. I will be just touching on the other Anoka State Hospital, which has the cottages and it's just very rich with history. Very sad history, still worth talking about. There's just so many stories around this and I'm always learning more about it, so it's cool and I just wanted to talk about it and kind of shout out to my Minnesotans that like to watch my videos. I really appreciate you and just thought I would draw it back. So this place is pretty eerie. It's been around for over 100 years now and it is no longer a state hospital. It shut down operation in I think 1999. I'm pulling this from my brain, you guys. I just remember like doing so much research on it. It's in there. It's in there. There is a office building and that was, I think, made way later because the cottages are much older. That was like the only operational building on the campus when I would go visit like 10 years ago. Since then, they've turned some of the cottages into halfway houses and I believe some like a home for veterans, which is really awesome. And there was talk of that when I first made my video almost 10 years ago, and I'm glad that it came to fruition because I think that's a really great use of something that was just sitting there, because they talked about tearing them down and I'm like, really? They're really cool looking, and besides the fact that they're probably haunted, a great place for people to live alongside ghosts. But whether you believe in ghosts or not, obviously you clicked on this video for a reason, so something in you is intrigued and I just thought it'd be cool to touch back on it and read a story from Reddit that I found. And this was actually from 2 years ago under the Reddit thread Ghosts by Just-Bert, and I never heard about this ghost before, and it's called The Eerie Mystery of the Laughing Child at Anoka State Hospital. And I guess this is a known haunting. I've never experienced this. Would I want to experience it? I don't know, but I thought it'd be cool to talk about it and let me know your thoughts. So before I jump into the story, I just want you to know that I'll have all the links down below to this Reddit thread. All credit goes to this person for gathering this information. I had no idea about this. There's really not a lot about like hauntings here other than Reddit, so it is cool to have found this even though it is 2 years old. So I must have just not done enough digging the last time I made a video about this place. The introduction is about the Anoka State Hospital in Minnesota. Many claim to have encountered various supernatural entities, but one stands out for its haunting audibility, the laughing child. Witnesses describe hearing the laughter of a child echoing through the hospital's abandoned halls, creating an atmosphere of unsettling mystery. The Anoka State Hospital was established in 1900 and served as a mental health institution for decades before its closure. Though its history is fraught with tales of suffering and the paranormal, the laughing child has become one of the most talked about apparitions connected to this location. So there's an auditory phenomenon with this ghost, like eerie laughter. There's brief glimpses of a childlike figure and often experienced in various locations within the hospital. So there are multiple cottages and they're all connected through an underground tunnel system. I heard that since then it's been shut down, but there's always like a lot of talk about it, and then I hear, no, that's not true. So I don't know if they've actually been closed off or not, but there was a tunnel system underneath there and that's how they would like get patients from one place to the next, especially like during the winter, and Minnesota winters can be pretty brutal. So that, and then bad weather, sometimes patients would get lost and some of them would unalive themselves down there. That's another story that I heard. So there is a lot of like ghostly encounters down there. One of our family friends had encounters down there when he was literally just like, he worked for Plunkett's, which is a pest control business, and I talked about this in my last video about this place, but he heard like shuffling behind him and nobody was there. He heard like people like whispering behind him, nobody was there. Yeah, there's just been like lots of disembodied voices and things like that. So I have no idea if it's like in the tunnels that people hear this or if it's a specific cottage that they hear this, but they just said hospital. So maybe it's everywhere. Who knows? There are some speculations and theories. A restless spirit. Some speculate the laughing child could be the ghost of a former patient, which would make a lot of sense because the first patients of this place were women and children, and then later on they brought men there. So that makes a lot of sense. The second is that it's residual energy, which also makes sense. Others propose that the laughter may be a form of emotional imprint left behind, and that it could be an unknown entity given the lack of conclusive evidence. Some theories suggest the entity may not be human at all, which I think is the worst out of the three. The laughing child defies the categorization often sought in paranormal investigations. There's no evident link to significant dates, moon phases, or specific seasons, making it challenging for investigators to capture any meaningful evidence. The phenomenon occurs sporadically with neither rhyme nor reason and seems resistant to traditional investigative techniques. The laughing child adds a uniquely haunting dimension to the myriad of mysteries that envelop the Anoka State Hospital. Whether it's the restless spirit of a former patient, an emotional imprint, or something else entirely, this presence continues to baffle and intrigue those invested in uncovering the hospital's hidden secrets. This is pretty crazy. I had no idea about this, like I said before. This makes me want to go visit, but I know that there's some restrictions with the public going there and visiting. So really interesting. If you've ever had an occurrence with this specific entity, let me know down below. I'm always really curious. Don't be shy to comment. I will comment back. Thank you so much for watching my first installment of Molli-Ween, and it was definitely just like an appetizer, nothing too crazy, and I have some really great ideas for my future videos, so check out future Fridays for more Molli-Ween, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day and a very spooky season. Bye.